Hi, I am Pradip. Today I am going to discuss about the conservation of plants and animals of Standard A. What is conservation? Conservation means a wise and judicious use of natural resources. What is natural resources? Natural resources means the substance which occurring from the nature are exploited for the economical purpose, or the substance which plays the important role for the human society, that known as a natural resources. Now, the plants and the animals. Plants means the non-locomoting organism of the universe, or the organism which are not able to perform the locomotion, whereas the animals are the locomoting organism. So we have to use the plants and animals in a judicious and wiseful method. Now, before discussing this chapter, we have to discuss about the biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Bio means life. Diversity means variety or variation. Variety means the difference between two organisms on the basis of their morphological features, or variation means the difference between two identical twins. So the variety of life or the variation of life, these two words are pointing about the difference. So the difference of life. But when we observe the definition of life, life means is a state or condition where can we observe the growth, maturation, movement and locomotion, reproduction, respiration, all are the characteristic features of life. If we trying to differentiate the plants and the animals on the basis of the definition of life, they are bearing the small amount of the minor difference. Only the plant also performing the growth, whereas the animals are also performing the growth. Whereas the plant performing the unlimited growth and ours growth are the limited. Both are performing the maturation, or both having the maturation. Both are performing the movement, but the plant are not able to locomote, whereas the animals are able to locomote. This is the difference. So here the life suggests about the species. Species. What is species? Species means the interbreeding living organism. Interbreeding living organism, or the organism which can reproduce in their mating process, that known as a interbreeding living organism, that known as a species. So what will be the biodiversity? Biodiversity means different types of species present in a particular region, that known as a biodiversity. Nowadays biodiversity is quite important for us. What is the importance? Importance of biodiversity. Importance of biodiversity. First one, biodiversity are important to maintain the natural balance. We know that everything is maybe the living or the non-living thing, organic or inorganic substance, having an equilibrium amount or equilibrium ratio in the nature, that known as a natural balance. To maintain this natural balance, biodiversity plays important role. To maintain the ecological balance, biodiversity plays important role. Ecology means, eco means habitat, logy means the knowledge. What is habitat? Habitat means the place where the organism live. So when we judging in a ecology, or when we judging about the habitat, they are present the different types of organism. Some organism can produce their own food, they are known as the producers, and some are not able to produce their own food. For food they will depend on the producer, they are termed as the consumers. Consumers can be herbivorous, carnivorous or the omnivorous. If we judge on the basis of the food, we we will observe that producer produce their food, the herbivorous eat the producers, carnivorous eat the herbivorous, and the omnivorous eat both type of organism. This type of relationship in a habitat that known as a ecological balance. Now the third one, every living organism is interlinked up with each other or interdependent with each other. To maintain this relationship, biodiversity plays important role. Clear? Now biodiversity are also important for the next generation. Now back in 1,000 years ago, there is a deep forest, and the forest was the natural habitat for the wildlife animals. What is wildlife animals? The animals lived in a forest that known as a wildlife animals. So before the 1,000 years, there present the deep forest, and within the deep forest, huge number of wildlife animals present, and the amount of human are quite low. Then the human think we have to survive this situation, although the human having the small population, they can't fight with the wildlife animals, because wildlife animals are more stronger as compared to the human beings, but they are use their brain. They are trying to increase their population. And within the some time, they are increasing their population in a huge amount. And due to the increase of the human population, they require the large amount of land for different purpose. Hence, their problem is created. The humans are going to solve this problem by taking a method that known as a deforestation. Deforestation means cutting down of trees on a large scale, that known as a deforestation. Due to the increase of the human population, human require the large amount of land, so the human are going to cut the forest in a large scale, that known as a deforestation. The reason behind the deforestation is maybe the man-made or the artificial reason, and some natural events like the forest fire, earthquake, volcanic eruption can causes the deforestation. And whereas the artificial region of the man-made region, for the first one, for the agricultural purpose, due to the increase of the human population, human require the large amount of food, and the supply of the food comes from the agriculture, and for the agriculture they are required the extra amount of land. This extra amount of land will come from the deforested land. For the housing and the building, they are cutting the forest or the deforested land are going to be used for creating of the house or the building. For the factories, deforested land are going to be used for the establishment of factories. These are the reason for the artificial or the man-made region of deforestation. Now, the instant effect of the deforestation, the wildlife animals lost their habitat. So, due to the loss of their habitat, they are feeling the insecure. And due to this insecurity, they are not move freely within the forest. They are going to reduce their amount or facing some problem in reproduction. But after few years, the environmental problem comes as a result or consequences of deforestation. The first one is the rising of temperature. Due to the deforestation, the sun rays will fall directly on the soil. That will help to rise the temperature. The amount of carbon dioxide will be increased. Deforestation also helps in the desertification. Desertification means the process by which the new desert forms. When the sunlight rays are directly fall on the top layer of the soil, the water evaporates. The binding of the soil became the looser one. Due to the lack of the water and due to the high temperature, the soil changes its nature and suddenly it turns into the sandy particles. that will help to form the desert. The next one, deforestation also causes the soil erosion. Soil erosion. The next one, deforestation reduce the rainfall. How the deforestation reduce the rainfall? After the deforestation, less amount of trees will be present. As the less amount of trees present, so they are performing the less amount of transpiration. As a result of the less amount of transpiration, the less amount of water vapor will be discharged. That will form the less amount of cloud, that resulting the less rain. After the deforestation, the defined systems like the tornado, hurricane are also occur due to the deforestation. And suddenly there will be a theory. A new theory comes that every living organism are interlinked up with each other by judging the dodo bird condition. Dodo bird is a long beak containing birds which ate the hardest seed of the planet. Now they are lived in the Philippine island. When the British army entered into the Philippine island, they are easily caught the dodo bird and ate the dodo bird. But within the small time, the entire population of the dodo bird are collapsed or destroyed. And due to the lack of the dodo bird, the germination of this particular plant which produces the hardest seed are stopped. So due to the lack of the dodo bird, the germination of the plant are going to be stopped. So the reproduction process of the plant are going to be stopped. Within few years, the plant are going to be disappear from our planet. By judging this condition, we think that every living organism are interlinked up with each other. Then the human are trying to think that how can we survive this condition. In one side we have a natural disaster, and in another side every living organism having the interlink up, and we are destroying the forest in a huge amount. So we have to create a suitable environment. Hence comes the idea about the conservation. And the first line of the conservation is, let's forget what happened with us. Start from the beginning. We are going to conserve the remaining species of the plants and the animals and trying to increase their number and providing the security that known as the conservation of plants and the animals. Now the conservation of plants. So conservation of plants, a wise and judicious use of the plant is known as a conservation of plants. The mode of the conservation of plants, or the motto of the conservation of plants, we have to conserve or we have to protect the natural forest, try to increase the amount of the forest and create some protective system or create some barrier around the newly planted trees or the new plantation. Now this conservation of plants are occur by two processes. One is the reforestation, another one is the afforestation. What is reforestation? Re means again, forestation means creating forest. When we are creating the forest on the deforested land, that known as a reforestation. And the another one is the afforestation. When we are creating the forest on the vacant land or the barren land, that known as a afforestation. So by the use of the reforestation and the afforestation, the conservation of plants will take place. Now after the reforestation or afforestation, the humans taking the cares of the reforested land or the afforested land. The first one, the grazing or the movement of the animals are stopped within the forest. The grazing should be stopped. They are taking the protective system to prevent the natural forest fire. They are using the insecticide and pesticide for killing the harmful insect or the pest for the plant. Even they are planting 2 or 3 times more than the previous one. These are all the careness about the reforestation or the afforestation. I think that's enough for today. Tomorrow we will discuss about the conservation of animals. Thank you.